$31,200, and for some of these two, $64,200. This is our total package.
Another day of drop shipping. Headed to the post office, and then we'll get ready with the video after. Heather.
Oh.
Say hi.
Hi.
What's going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's episode, we will be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to US dollar. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, as well as leave a giant thumbs up if you want to see more content like this. Otherwise, let's jump into today's episode. So we will be looking at some technical analysis in regards to the market. We are seeing a slight pullback on the market. And I also have two articles, one referring to Tim Draper saying that trillions of dollars will move towards the crypto market. And then the second is that the VanEck Solidex make case for Bitcoin ETF at the latest meeting with the US SEC. So we do have a couple of articles that are pretty important, I'd like to say, within cryptocurrency, and I would like to present those to you. Otherwise, before we do begin, I am going to, if you guys didn't see my poll, I am going to be doing a pretty big giveaway of some cryptocurrency, if that's what the vote seems to be, when we hit 10,000 subscribers. So I would appreciate it if you guys could help me, or if you have any ideas of how to grow my subscribers. We are doing a pretty good job as of right now. We just broke 5,500 on our way to 10,000. But if you guys can help me share this on Facebook, share it on Twitter, get your friend or two to subscribe to the channel. Literally, if each person that is subscribed to my channel can get one or two people that they know to subscribe, will be way over 10,000, and then I get to give away some free Litecoin. So hopefully that sounds like a good idea. It does to me. Let me know what you think in the description below or in the comments below. But otherwise, let's jump into today's episode. So as you guys can see, we're on the coin market cap right now. We have a current market cap of 129 billion, 24-hour volume of 16.4, and a Bitcoin dominance of 53.5%. So a few things to take away from that before we really dive into a more microeconomic look. You guys can see that the Bitcoin dominance is 53.5%. So it's about even with yesterday's dominance. So what that tells me is that we're not really seeing much change in regards to Bitcoin compared to the altcoins. Another thing to take note of is that we are seeing, where is it? On the 24-hour volume, 16.4 billion. So we are seeing, again, a little bit lower volume, so we're not really seeing much movement at all. And then we are seeing a lower market cap compared to yesterday. So there are a couple things to take away from that. We are seeing a slight decline within today's market. If I scroll down, you can see, unfortunately, we are seeing a small pullback from where we were seeing yesterday, and I will explain why we are seeing that in a second. You can see out of the top 10 cryptos, only one seems to be up. Bitcoin SV up 0.32%. Bitcoin, although is only at $39.90, it did break below that $4,000 barrier that we were hoping so much that it would stay above. It's at 5.5. It's down 5.59%. One good thing to note is Litecoin is at $32, so it's still holding strong, still fairly above its $30 support level. XRP is at 36, down 4%. And then we see Stellar at 0.157, down 2.9%. Otherwise, let's move on to a couple of articles that I want to read. So this is an article on Use the Bitcoin. It is Tim Draper says, like I said, trillions of dollars will move towards the crypto market. And he says, Draper talks about a bullish future within cryptocurrency. During the World Crypto Conference in Las Vegas, Tim Draper talked about the virtual currencies and the crypto market. According to him, Bitcoin will be leading the currency market and would allow people to easily do what they need with virtual currencies. At the time of writing this article, the crypto market has a market cap of 122 billion, and as we saw, it kind of went up a little bit. Meanwhile, in the fiat value around the world, the world is 86 trillion, so a huge difference. 122 billion in regards to crypto, 86 in regards to fiat currency, the value of fiat. Nevertheless, according to Mr. Draper, virtual currencies are cheaper to operate and work in a more frictionless way. Because of the reason he thinks that it's more important or that an important amount of fiat users would move to the crypto. And he, in quote, says, I mean, just by that alone, just that they cost you less, it's going to be better for people. And so they're going to move to crypto, and they're going to go away from the political currency that they call fiat. So it's definitely a pretty good approach. Draper believes that by 2022, Bitcoin could be worth as much as $250,000. Nonetheless, we are still far away from that number. Currently, Bitcoin has a market cap of 70 bill, and Bitcoin is still purchased for over $4,000. So another thing to take away from that, though, is if crypto, and he's saying one Bitcoin could potentially be worth 250 grand by 2022, which is only around 3 years away, which, if you really think about it, it's not that long. It almost doesn't make sense to at least invest a little bit into the currency and into crypto to at least hold on to a little bit in the off chance that we do go to 250 grand. You would at least make a couple of $1,000s. You know, it's kind of like a bond, a slow long-term investment that could potentially cash you out in a long term. Otherwise, I do have another article. This is on Cointelegraph.com, really good website. VanEck SolidX makes case for Bitcoin ETF's latest meeting with the U.S. SEC. So hopefully you guys have we've talked about in the past a while ago an ETF that was fully backed by Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So this is pretty much an update from that. It says the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has published a memorandum November 28th, so 2 days ago, of the latest meeting regarding a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund ETF proposal. The application was originally brought by the commission of the U.S. investment firm VanEck and blockchain software and financial services company SolidX. So there's a couple of things they talked about. It seems like they were having a pretty big debate on whether or not a Bitcoin ETF is worth something to at least approve. It says, as previously reported, VanEck joined SolidX to apply for the physically backed Bitcoin ETF to be listed by CBOE's BCX Equities Exchange. Its approval or disapproval is still pending since the SEC postponed its decision this August. It said, at the center of the presentation's argument was a comparison of Bitcoin as a commodity with more traditional assets. So they're comparing Bitcoin to crude oil, silver, and gold, all of which already have ETFs within the market, as we know. In an analysis of price formation across traditional commodities alongside Bitcoin, the team argued that similar to gold and silver, Bitcoin derives its value as a money substitute, unlike crude oil, which is pure industrial commodity. He then said the presentation emphasized that in all three traditional commodity futures, the empirical evidence shows that spot and future prices are cointegrated, indicating that they are tightly linked. The same as per the presentation pertains to Bitcoin spot and futures, and this pattern for all commodities at hand is evidence as well-functioning capital market. So in another central argument, the VanEck SolidX team argued that Bitcoin was in fact more resistant to market manipulation than its traditional counterparts with approved ETFs. In the case of physical commodities, the team said that inside information such as discovery of new sources of supply or significant disruptions at production sites can be exploited. For Bitcoin, these situations are inapplicable according to the claimants. So basically, like these funds that are already they're already out there, so people could potentially, mine more gold, find more crude oil, things like that. Once we know that all of the Bitcoin has been mined, that's it. So there's no, hidden amounts that are coming to the exchange. So that's something to take note of when the SEC wants to get involved or wants to approve or disapprove cryptocurrencies as an ETF. So those are just a couple of articles I wanted to point out to you guys. Otherwise, I am on the Litecoin charts right now to get into the technical analysis aspect, and hopefully you guys are well aware of why we are seeing such a pullback. It's a very small pullback, not really seeing much movement at all. Mainly, we're seeing some resistance in terms of our high-low MMA on the 4-hour. It is pushing our price level down, so we are seeing very low price action right now. We're seeing a small retracement back down, some suppression in regards to that high-low MMA. You can see we're also nearing overbought, so we did slightly pull back down from that too. Not to say that we could have broken into overbought, it was definitely possible, but being that the high-low green band right here, high-low MMA green band, is holding as a resistance, we're kind of seeing a small pullback in regards to that, so that is why we're pulling back down here. Otherwise, we do look like we may retest that $28-30 level. We're trading currently at $31.24, so we could see a small pullback right now, you know, down to $28, down to $30 being that next support. It is definitely very possible. I do not believe we are still out of the dugout yet. I still think we do have a little bit more ways to go before we can see some upside within this market and start to crawl back up to the top and start to test those previous higher levels. It's pretty crazy though how we've seen, you know, $70-80 in the past in terms of a correction and a retracement upwards, and to see prices as low as $30 is quite shocking to some people. I'm very aware of that. As you guys can see, I'm now on Litecoin on the daily, and you guys notice that we are seeing a pullback in the slightest. You can see where we're getting caught up on right here. We do have at $28 a support level in white that I have drawn on right here that we are trading out sideways. You'll notice we still do have a downtrend right here that we could potentially continue to follow. If we do, we could see prices as low as $22, which I know is shocking to some, but it is definitely very possible to see levels that low. I don't think we're going to break this downtrend anytime soon though. I think we're holding on to it fairly well. We may bounce off of the support in terms of our high-low, in terms of our bottom oversold level. So it's very possible that we could test that. But I do think we will potentially retest $28. If we break that, we may fall lower, testing 22 on the bottom of the downtrend. And, you know, we're really waiting to find the rock bottom level and to start seeing some potentially good news, you know, media getting more involved in this potential pass of an ETF, and we could see a rise within cryptocurrencies leading back up. This is the short term we're talking. I do think in the long term we will see a much higher cryptocurrency. I think this is only a short term thing. There is many more people involved in crypto right now, or at least are aware of it compared to the old times. We're getting rid of the stigma that crypto is a bad thing. It is a druggy thing. We're getting rid of that stigma, and now we're making people think of, whoa, it's a commodity, it's a currency, it has value to it, it's an investment. That's what we're leading more towards. Otherwise, you can see on Bitcoin's weekly, we are breaking bearish right here. You can see we're pretty much flatlined in terms of our support of our oversold line on the relative strength index. We're going to trade out sideways for right now. It's going to be interesting because it's quite important in terms of the weekly. We'll look at the daily in a second, but you can beautifully see this descending triangle breaking bearish that, you know, obviously nobody really wanted to see. You can see it caught support at around $3,600, and we're currently retracing back up to that. Moving on into our daily, you know, and just in terms of the weekly, it shows me that it's going to be very tricky to go much lower. And even if we do, these levels I do think are pretty good to be buying at in terms of holding on for a couple of months, because due to the fact that we're nearing oversold on the weekly charts, we're gonna eventually become overbought. You know, we're gonna eventually swing the opposite direction, and I do think we'll see some higher levels at that. You can see clearly where that descending triangle broke bearish from. You can see the support at 36. We can move it ever so slightly up right there. The wicks right there, we're retracing back up, and it seems like we're taking a quick retracement back downwards. We're going to retest $3,700. You can see right there a hook. We may enter oversold on Bitcoin's daily once again. It'll be very shocking though to see that. Definitely still possible. Otherwise, moving on to Ethereum, you can see Ethereum is trading out sideways again on its weekly. It is nearing oversold. You can see it's at the bottom of its support, what we believe is support, but I truly think it definitely is a support level. We do have to honor that. I do think that it is going to continue to bounce off of here as I zoom out on its daily. I do think it's going to trade out sideways. You can see from here, it's going to trade out right here. And in terms of the end of December, so right around Christmas, December 25th, we're going to see some sort of move within Ethereum. Either it's going to be a nice bullish run like we're all anticipating, or we're going to see a bearish break. We are, you know, entering oversold once again on Ethereum's daily, so I don't think these prices are permanent. I really would be quite shocked if we do head lower, but consolidation is definitely needed for the next like 3 weeks within Ethereum at least. Lastly, to look at XRP for you guys, we are still on some sort of ascending triangle, so I know that's some good news for others, some bad news, but we are still on an ascending triangle. We broke through our high-low MMA on our daily. We are no longer overbought on our relative strength index. And we're currently hiking up this mountain right here up to the summit at around 0.00009864 in terms of Ripple to Bitcoin or XRP to Bitcoin. I'm only quoting that. So we are still heading up and we're doing quite nicely. It's going to be very interesting. I would anticipate some sort of break towards December 12th. So we have around a little over a week and a half of consolidation within XRP. I do think higher levels are definitely anticipated. We're going to keep hiking up on this. You can see where we had that retracement prior all the way back on November 14th and we pulled right back into our uptrend. And I do think we're going to trade up here, find this resistance at the white band, and we're going to see whether or not we're going to break bearish from that or break nicely upwards and into a nicer correction. But otherwise, that's going to sum up today's episode for today, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Giveaway at 10K subscribers. If you want to check out and want to become a Crypto TV community member on Steemit or Twitter, we have links in the description, so I'd highly appreciate you guys join that. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.